Next, the chief guest address and today's program by Mr. Ravichandran Somu sir, Head of Asia Pacific Technical Support, Professional Services, Keysight Technologies, Singapore. Next one, vote of thanks. So I welcome you all for this wonderful session on webinar about 5G mobile communications and services by Mr. Ravichandran Somu sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think fine. Now it's very clear. I can hear you. Mr. Joshua, you are on mute.
Bano sir, introduction to chief guest. Sorry, welcome address by Dr. A. Bano sir, HOD EC department. Irkan sir, Irkan. Sorry, sir. Actually, I connected with the mobile, so I couldn't able to join back.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, please go.
I thank the Almighty for this wonderful occasion. First of all, it's a great pleasure for having a great venue been arranged for all the students on behalf of ISTD by our coordinator, Dr. S.P. Valanarsi sir, and I'm very much thankful to Mr. Ravichandran Somu sir for joining with us, and he's been heading the Asia Pacific Technical Support and the Professional Services, Keysight Technologies, Singapore. So thank you for your time as well as providing us this opportunity to be with us in this particular wonderful moment. So it's a great opportunity for our students as well as for all the faculty members, fellow colleagues, as well as all the staffs that has been associated with this particular program. I thank all the members to be available over here. I welcome all the faculty members, staff members, students who have been part of this particular program on behalf of ISTD chapter as well as on behalf of Dr. Sivandiratna College of Engineering, Department of EC. I thank the management as well as principal for providing this wonderful opportunity and to conduct this particular program for the students' benefit. And experts like you, sir, are always giving a great chance for students to get the knowledge, real-time experience of industries at this particular point of time. I think this is a great opportunity for the students to understand what technology that has been prevailing in the real-time environment, how we have been growing and advancing ourselves in every step of movement in real-time environment. And always we also try, as well as every faculty do have a vision that whatever theoretically people have been learning has to be realized in practice. And they want to actually link with this particular practical process, how they have been established, what are the measuring methodologies that has been available. And we know Keysight is one of the greatest forum for all teaching faculty members, industries, as well as institutes and students who are been going to have a career in the core domain where people are being supposed to have a lot of knowledge, understanding on real concepts. So this is, I think, one good forum for the students to understand about 5G mobile communication as well as its services that is going to be prevailing for the customer side, and what all technologies that is going to be incorporated beyond this particular features. I think hope you are going to serve us. So I welcome you on behalf of ISTD once again, and I thank for your acceptance and valuable time. I don't want to take much of your time. You're waiting patiently for a long time period. Sorry for the inconvenience caused on our part. So hope that students do enjoy that. Thank you very much and welcome all the people who have been joining with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Binoy.
Next, introduction about chief guest by Dr. S.P. Valanarasu sir, Associate Professor, Department of ECE, Dr. Sivindhyanath College of Engineering, Tiruchendur. Welcome, sir.
I will, on behalf of our college, Dr. Sivindhyanath College of Engineering, our management and principal, I welcome Mr. Ravichandran Somu, Head Asia Pacific Technical Support Professional Services, Keysight Technologies, Singapore. I welcome you, sir. So Mr. Ravi is the head of Asia Pacific Technical Support Professional Services, and he is currently working as a consultant and giving consultancies in telecommunication support areas, and he has more than nearly 30 years of experience after his study in Anna University, Guindy, after attaining his ECE BE degree. So he has worked, initially he has started his field in CDOT technologies. So CDOT technologies, he has much experience in the government sector, and after that he went to USA. So in USA at Lucent Technologies, he has worked so much in the technical field, and he has also worked with the projects in Bell Laboratories also. Mr. Ravi is such a kind of good person, knowledgeable person, so that he can share his knowledge in 5G mobile technologies and also in the previous generation technologies of communication with us, and student will benefit more about the communication knowledge, technologies and services, and we have to make use of his vast experience. So we have to patiently listen all these throughout this lecture. So on this graceful occasion, I welcome Mr. Ravichandran Somu, the head Asia Pacific Technical Support, for his kind consent and given his time and allotting his time to give a fine program, lecture, and share his experiences to our students. I welcome Ravichandran Somu, sir.
All right, thank you. Shall I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And first, I would like to thank Dr. Binoy. Looks like there is an echo here. You want to mute? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Clear? Just unmute and tell. Is it very clear when I speak?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, then you can mute it. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And first, I would like to thank Dr. Binoy, head of the department, and Dr. Valanarasu, associate professor, for giving this opportunity for me to talk to the students. In fact, as you guys all, as Dr. Valanarasu introduced, I'm heading the Asia Pacific Technical Operations for a US telecom company. It's a Keysight Technologies. I do give guest lectures and motivational talks to the students and the industry forums. I always have a one principle in my life. When somebody from the government school or someone from the rural areas of the colleges ask for lectures, I always give the first preference. Even though I get get opportunities in other industry forums and things like that. The reason is I myself was a rural student. Okay, so I come from a very small village in Tanjavur district near Mannargudi, a village called by Vettikadu. So when I was a student, I used to walk 16 kilometers a day to go to school. Okay, and without slippers. 8 kilometers from my distance from my school to my home to the school, and I come back. So I know the difficulty of the rural students, and especially like down south and other places. And I consider it's my duty, and it is to giving back to the community. I should always go and talk to the rural students and inspire them to achieve success in their life. That's one of the reason. Dr. Valanarasu is my classmate in Gindi Engineering College, and as soon as he asked me this, and I said yes, absolutely, this is my number one priority. I will come and talk to the students. Okay. Um, just I want to stop here and check. Valan, can you hear me clearly? Just wanted to make sure that you guys can hear me clearly.
Yes, Ravi. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. All right. Okay, you can mute it. Okay, good. So with that little intro, I just wanted to today I'm going to give a high-level introduction about 5G mobile communications and what are the exciting services it is going to offer. The timing is perfect. The reason is next month in October, 5G is getting introduced in India. I don't know whether if you follow the news, recently Indian government did the auction for the spectrum, right, for the 5G, and a couple of months back. And next month, Reliance Jio, Airtel, they are going to start the 5G rollout. They are going to start the rollout of 5G services, starting with maybe like big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and then probably within a year it will reach to all other places around India. And it's however, in throughout the world, the 5G has already started long time back, about 2020, right? 2020. If you look at my history, my background, I started my telecom career with the 2G, 1990s, early 90s, 2G. Probably by the time you were just a kid, right? You would have just born or not born, kind of thing. So I started my career in 2G, then 3G, 4G, 5G now, and we already started the basic the research project on the 6G also. So with that introduction, I'll go to my slides and I'll start my lecture. Okay, just give me a sec. Valan, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, yes, Ravi.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure that, just a second. Can you see my slides, right? See the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Clearly.
good. All right. Okay, good. I think just a second. I need to want to see the students also in the window. Okay. Okay, I'll switch once in a while. Okay. Okay, for my talk today, this is a agenda. So I'm going to start with the evolution of mobile communications and little bit giving an introduction from 2G to how we evolved from 2G to 5G and what are the 5G features and the 5G architecture and 5G services and how the future lifestyle is going to be in 5 to 10 years time frame. And finally, question and answer session. And here I would like to reiterate one thing. I don't want this to be a monotonous way of I talk, you just listen. I want more of interactions. So I will allocate more time for question and answers where because I don't really know the exact the background of you people because I come from the industry. But I would like to spend more time on the question and answer where you can ask any questions on the telecom technology, 5G, and again, please feel free to ask in, like if you're not comfortable in English, feel free to ask in Tamil also. Because again, I want to reiterate one point here. This is a myth in India. If somebody talks in English, people consider he is a knowledgeable person. That's not true at all. English is just a language. It is not the knowledge. Okay, the subject knowledge is different. English knowledge is different. Okay, don't feel inferior or something like that, thinking that you don't know English. That's not that's not the thing. I just wanted it's because this is very important. So you can ask very freely in Tamil, or you can you so that you whatever doubts you have you can get it clarified. Okay, so I want to allocate more time for question and answer session so that you can talk questions and understand. All right, so switching to my slide here, okay. So if you look at the telecom industry, the mobile communication industry, every 10 years, there is a technology revolution happens, okay. So that's why we called the generation of mobile communication 1G, first generation, second generation, 2G, 3G, third generation, 4G, fourth generation. Now we are in 5G. And if you look at the time frame, 1981, when the first technology is introduced, you can see from your screen how big the mobile phone, right? The mobile phone was just like a brick, right? Or a single, like a brick, and people used to carry that kind of mobile phone about 40 years back, 1980s. Then we moved to 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. So what is these things? Okay, because for some reason I cannot see the crowd also as part of my screen because when I'm in mode. I'm just trying to understand. Okay, no problem. Let me continue. So if you look at the 5G, the 1G, which is got introduced in the early 80s, 1980, it's based on analog communication, just pure analog. You can just hear only voice, okay, nothing else, pure analog communication. In the 90s, 2G got introduced after 10 years. So this is based on the digital technology. It's not analog. It's we moved from analog to digital in 2G, and in 2G. So when it became a digital, the new services got introduced. One such service is SMS, right? Short message services, then caller ID, call waiting, voicemail, those kind of basic services got introduced in 2G, which is the 1990s. In India, the mobile communication networks started in mid 90s with the 2G technology. Then the 3G got introduced in 2000 timeframe. In 2000, when 3G got introduced, first data services with a very very low data download speeds, it got introduced in 3G. where you can do some basic browsing and mail. Okay, so those kind of things in 3G in 2000 time frame. In 4000, that's what you can see from the screen, like what are the differences, right? Then SMS, then internet got introduced. In 4G, there is a big difference. Like, no, we introduced what do you say, high speed internet, high speed data download. Like, so that's why with the 4G, we are in a position to see videos like faster downloads and stuff like that, and that's in 2011 time frame. Even right now in India we are using only 4G. Okay, and Reliance, when they started Reliance Jio, when they started the services, they started with only 4G technology. We call it as a greenfield 4G technology. So if you look at the 4G, I would say, like, the data speed is maximum you can achieve around say 100 Mbps, but typically when you walk around, when you travel, you get around 30 to 40 Mbps only in a 4G network. So what is happening in 5G? What difference it brings in 5G? So that is what we are going to see in detail. Okay. Just want to take a checkpoint here. So just Valan, I want to take a check. Is it clear and voice is clear and okay, everything's okay?
Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
So okay, I just wanted to take some time. Like, maybe again, I want more of interactive. Students, you have some basic doubts or like anything you want to ask now? Okay. All right. So let me move on to the next one. Okay. What is in 5G? Okay. In 5G, as you, okay, I want to check again, Valan, Dr. Valan, is students are aware of some of the basics of these 2G these technologies, the 2G, 3G, 4G. They studied in the class
Yes, sir.
subject.
Yes.
Okay, so they are aware of. Okay, then it's fine. All right, thank you. Okay, yeah, good. So if you look at any project, right? When we develop a new, okay, just a second. Again, somebody is waiting at the lobby, I believe. Okay. Okay. If you look at once again, okay. Just a second. I'm just admitting somebody is waiting at the lobby. All right. Okay, no problem. Okay. So if you look at if you start any project, right, in the industry, we are industry guys. When you start on any project, first we need to identify the requirements, what is needed, right? First you need to understand the objective of this project. Then only what you are going to develop, that is a product requirements. We call it as a requirements and features. So what are the major features of 5G? The first one is obviously the data speed. Like, the data speed, you can see here, like, in 5G you can achieve up to 20 gigabytes per second. Can you believe this? 20 gigabits per second. Of course, the first version will not have this 20 Gbps, but in the first version we can get 1 Gbps. Right now in 4G we are getting around 100 Mbps. But in theoretically, in average, you are getting around 20 to 50 Mbps. But when you start 5G, the minimum speed itself is going to be 1 Gbps. So that's called high data rate. The second thing is, I would say that it's like the latency. Okay, the latency is going to be very 1 millisecond. That means it's instantly. In 5G, we are going to introduce a new concept of IoT devices connections and life mission criticals, like doctors can do remote surgery using robots, and all IoT devices which communicates very mission critical information that requires very minimum latency, like instantly. That's why in 5G the latency is very less, just less than 1 milliseconds. So that's another one of the major okay, again, once again, I see people are waiting at the lobby. Okay. 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 Sorry, somebody is okay, joined and making background noise. Okay. So the next is that's what, like, I talked about ultra reliable low latency. Then massive next is IoT devices. What is IoT devices? I'm sure you might understand a lot of like industrial, environmental, and to monitor various things. So small devices, the small devices which will transmit a small amount of data, and that's why it's called Internet of Things, IoT. And in 5G, we should be in a position to connect to massive devices, right? For example, even if you're in when you are travel, like I have my Fitbit thing, I have my cell phone, might be having my iPad, and all these things should be connected. Along with they are going to put massive IoT sensors for industrial communication, for weather monitoring, for agriculture purposes. There are a lot of IoT devices. That means in a small area, like within a 1 kilometer, the 5G network should be capable of supporting these amount of massive devices, IoT devices. Okay, that's another major requirement. This is completely new. Again, until 4G, like if you look at from 3G to 4G, the major difference is only the data download speed, right? But in 5G, we are introducing a new different domain, which is IoT devices connectivity and mission critical devices. As I told you already, it's now doctors performing remote surgery using robots, and people send firefighting robots to know for a firefighting situation. These are all mission critical devices, mission critical applications. So we need to have that low latency. Then other things, I'm just like, no, I don't want to read everything. You can I will share the slides. Okay, I will share the slides with the Dr. Valan, and he can distribute the slides to you. So there is no need for you to write down or anything. You can I can share the slides. And in 5G, what we do is people like when okay, as I said, no, I started with the 2G. When I was working in 2G, we used to have a huge equipments, like each equipment is like a refrigerator, like even for us, if I go to the telephone exchanges, you can see a row of big huge equipments with refrigerator sizes equipments with the cards and everything. That's what we started when we did the first switch to digital in 2G. In 5G, we are going to do a lot of things, right? Lot of things, but the network is the size of the equipments or the size of the things, it's going to be very small. Probably a small room we can we can build a 5G exchange to handle all this kind of services. How it is possible? How it is possible means it's kind of layered architecture. Okay, I think so. Layered architecture in the sense we can in a 5G we can define into 3 different layers. The bottommost is called, we call it as a hyper connected infrastructure. This is like for massive connectivities for at the bottom layer is the physical layer. We call it as a physical layer, is right. People who studied the basic of telecom, there is a OSI layer, like 7-layer model, like physical data link, network, then go up to the application layer. The hyper connected infrastructure provide the high speed in terms of fiber connectivity, or in terms of the new generation antennas. These are all the physical connectivity, right? When the antennas, provides connectivity from your cell phone to the base station. And from the base station, whatever the data is carried through the high-speed network, which consists of a lot of media gateways, fiber cable and stuff like that. We call it as hyper-connected infrastructure, which is in the bottom of the network. Then in the middle layer is like a control layer. Like when you are a subscriber, you should know, like the telecom guy should know how much balance you have, what kind of services you opted for it, and those kind of information. How by looking at the number you dial, how to make the connectivity from one place to another place by looking at your IP addresses, right? When you browse through the internet or send some data. How this connectivity, these are all handled by the middle layer, which we call it as a control layer. The bottom layer is called data layer, thing, and the middle layer is a control layer. This control layer is, again, in previous generation network, we used to have dedicated equipments, right? Media gateway controller, IMS, a lot of devices in the network. And now that has moved from the dedicated device to virtualization. I'm sure you guys know what is virtualization, right? It is like a general purpose service which runs network, various like firewall. You can run it as a server right now. And like some media gateway controller, we can run it as on the general purpose computer as a virtual machine. So by doing this, we can save a lot of money on the capex, the initial investments. So that's how it has come down to in the middle layer, it's a control function. And on top of it is the application. Like you build a 5G network and you don't have any major applications. So what's the purpose, right? That's why with the 5G, there are a lot of new innovative services is coming. One is, as I already told you, right? It's a high speed IoT devices, massive IoT devices connectivity. I'm going to talk in detail later. Then healthcare, remote surgery, and in future you can have. Now we are with the 4G. We are having a video call, right? Video calls, and in 5G we can have hologram call. Like that, there are a lot of innovative services are going to be implemented in 5G, right? I think I'm going to take a checkpoint here to understand how is it going. You guys, is it like, Valan, I want to check things are okay, because since I'm talking by looking at the computer, right? And I need to check because I am always used to giving a talk using a podium, standing in front of the students by looking there, and I just wanted to check things are okay so far.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So am I going too fast, or is it easy to understand? You unmute, Dr. Valan. Please unmute. I want to check. Okay. Yeah.
It's easy to understand. It is easy. It is going nice.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. So what we so far talked about, what are the basic requirements of 5G, and the 5G architecture. Again, I just want to reiterate is the 5G architecture is something like you can imagine like a 3-layer architecture. The bottom provides all the connectivity, fiber cable, antenna, the media gateways, and these are all provide the physical connectivity which will carry the bits and pieces of your data in 0, 1, right? Everything travels to the digital. Then in the middle layer is the control function layers. And in the top layer is application. This is very complex. We go into the detail. Again, this is just a high level introduction. In 1 hour, we can't cover all those things, but at least as a students, you should understand, hey, how the 5G architecture looks. Yeah, it looks like something similar, like 3-layer, and one is the bottom layer infrastructure, the control function in the middle layer, and the applications at the top. So that's what the objective here. Then 5G spectrum, you keep hearing the 5G spectrum, right? Even 4G spectrum, 2G spectrum, spectrum actions, like, as I told you recently, Indian government did an action for the spectrum. Various telco companies like Reliance, Vodafone, Airtel, even Adani Group, now they are coming into 5G, but not for the commercial purpose. They wanted to use as a private network for their own communications, right? So then the government actions the spectrum, then the telecom companies buy the spectrum, they paying say 10,000 crores or 20,000 crores of rupees. Then that's how the spectrum get allocated. In 5G, typically the spectrum is from 3G, 3 gigahertz to like 60 gigahertz. That's the range. It's a high frequency range. That's why LTE, right now we are using LTE in 4G technology. LTE, that's in the sub 5G 6 gigahertz, like around 3 gigahertz range. Then we get into the 5G. It's called centimeter wave and millimeter wave. It's all centimeter is the wavelength. It represents the wavelength. 5G, the millimeter is the wavelength. And as you go to the higher spectrum, right, there are some issues are there, like you get into a lot of penetration issues, or like distortions. When the rain comes, there is a lot of distortion will happen. But the technology has evolved, and the antenna technology has evolved to overcome those challenges. That's why we are in a position to use the higher spectrum, like for the 5G communication. When you go to the higher spectrum, another challenge is the coverage will be less, like probably within a kilometer range. Whereas if you use a 2G in the spectrum, the coverage will be much higher, like in 50 kilometers or 25 kilometers. But the technology has evolved, right? So that's why we move to this spectrum range. Let me talk about the antenna, right? Again, people who understand the technology, the mobile network can be considered as a two different network, like what is called access, right? Where how you get into the mobile network, the antennas, the radio access network, we call it as a radio access network, RAN. The antennas, the base stations, they are their access network, which is a radio access network. Then from there, it comes to the telephone exchange. You might have seen the BSNL telephone exchanges, right? Or all the Airtel telephone exchanges, where you see all the control functions, right? All the media gateways or the media gateway controllers, all the devices, they sit and they do all kind of like checking the number you dialed or the IP addresses. They do the routing, what kind of services you enable, and what kind of speed you are eligible. Those decisions are taken, and those things travels through, the information travels in a fraction of a second. Let's say you are in Tiruchendur right now. When you make a call from or when you go through the internet, browse something, it's all happens in nanoseconds, and it the information travels through the fiber cable. It reaches Chennai or US and Singapore. I'm talking remotely from Singapore. These are all through that control function that make the decisions how to forward the traffic and to how to assemble the voice. There are a lot of things happening in the background. Okay, so one such thing is called antenna evaluation. If you look at the first generation antenna, which we used in 2Gs and 3Gs, it's called single antenna, right? Single antenna, which consists of you might have seen big towers, right, in India, where antennas will be there, and from there it's a coaxial cable, then comes to the base stations, and how that information is generated. Then in the second generation antenna, what we did is we added multiple heads. Then we used, instead of using the coaxial cable or the RF, we started using the fiber. That means the connectivity go to the very close to the antenna instead of the base station itself. Then the third generation, fourth generation, you can see that MIMO. MIMO is called multi-input, multi-output antennas. Okay. Why? When you go to 4G, the data speed is pretty high, right? 40 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Now we are talking about 5G. If you look at the 5G here, we call it as a massive MIMO. If we are talking about minimum 1 gigabits of speed, in order to have that speed, your antenna should you cannot use single channel to communicate to your phone or your device. We need to have a multi antennas, right? That's why it's called massive multi-input, multi-output antennas. So, and that's how the antenna evolved, right? I told you about how the 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G, the evolution happened. Similarly, the antenna evolution also happened in the access side to achieve this kind of great speed, okay? Next thing is, one of the challenges, I want to spend some time here, right? As I told you, 2G is, if you look at the India today, there are all the networks are exist right now, 2G, 3G, 4G, then now we are going to adding 5G, right? And even in villages right now, rural areas, the voice communication is mainly happening through the 2G only. Now only people are adding some 3Gs, and still 2G is very much available in all the all the big countries. Why it has to happen? Why people you can think that, hey, we are moving to 5G, why just remove everything and put 5G and communicate? That's not possible, right? You cannot overnight, you cannot replace the existing network with a new technology. It has to be a evolution. It has to be a slow migration, because we already invested billions of dollars, millions and billions of dollars, all the telecom companies, whether it is a BSNL or Airtel or Reliance, they invested tons of money. So they have to do the slow migration from one technology to another technology. If some technologies are still available only for voice communication in rural areas, they use it, right? But that is not very efficient, right? When you have too many networks to maintain, it takes a lot of operational expenses to maintain those networks, okay? And you need to have a lot of people maintain different networks. In fact, in olden days, in 3G, we used to have a separate network for voice communication and separate network for data communication. That means like two different network. I will give an analogy. I will give an example. For example, you now from Tiruchendur to Chennai, you have a bus route, you have a train route, right? If the voice travels through the bus route, the data travels through the train route. That means you need to manage both the networks, right? The road network as well as the train network. It requires a lot of money, cost. But in 4G, we combine that into a single network. That means only everything through the data. There is no road, right? That means your the maintenance is very simple. You don't need a lot of equipments, a lot of capex investment. So in a single train network itself, the voice is converted from analog to digital format as a packets. That's why we call voice over IP. It's get communicated through the train network alone. At the end, it get reassembled and goes as a voice, right? So that's how how the efficiency happen. In from 4G onwards, now 5G, there is absolutely these elements even got collapsed, and it becomes more open network. That's why we are using virtualization missions, and it is easy for people to buy and build a network rather than depending on a big telecom vendors to buy everything from them for a multi-million-dollar equipments, right? So this is how the current network looks like. You have 2G, you have 3G and 4G, you have fixed PSTN network and broadband. And think about that. If you are going to maintain the same thing in 5G, it's not very efficient. So how it is we are migrating, that's how we are migrating, right? Before and after. After all the access, the 5G can handle all the access, right? Whether it is 4G or fixed or Wi-Fi, 5G, and you see that everything combined from silos to a single access. Then from there, we are going to the core. For example, I am a core architect, right? I'm the core architect. I am the one in 2006 and 2007. I designed the mobile Reliance communication. At that time, not Reliance. At that time, Reliance Communications voice over IP core network across the entire India. Okay, across the entire India. I know the first voice over IP network in India in 2006, 2007. We put 150 we know media gateways multiple cities like Chennai or Hyderabad and Bangalore, and how we can carry the traffic. I was one of the core architect for that particular project. Okay, so that's how this by doing the simplification, that when it becomes simplified, your 5G becomes easy to manage and not much capex investments needed, not much apex expenses. So it's easy to maintain. Okay. And again, I'll give a simple example of the 5G architecture. As I told you, right? Again, just another slide which shows you see 5G, 4G, Wi-Fi, CPE, and this is the common core. How we manage the subscriber data, control functions mean how to make the decision, right? What kind of services you have subscribed, and when you look at the phone number, when you look at the IP addresses, how we make a look at it and make a routing decisions. Then policy means what kind of policies, whether you subscribe for high speed or you subscribe for low speed, and obviously everything has to be built, right? So these are the common core elements. This is the access side of it. So typically what will happen, irrespective of the person is using a 4G phone or 5G phone or Wi-Fi or any other device, simple thing is just first step one is attached to the antenna and to the network and use a common communicate. Step two is communication is through the voice, data, and video, right? This is how another view of that architecture. Okay, what we talked about previously, and another architecture here. And 5G based architecture is again, this is a little complex for you. I don't want to spend much of your time because as we engineers, right, as we architect and we design 5G, this is the various network elements. We call it the various network elements. So for example, AMF means access. Each in a core network, each function has, each network element has a function to do. AMF means access and mobility management. So mobility management means when you move from one antenna coverage area to next antenna coverage area, seamlessly how to manage this, right? That function is handled by the network element called AMF, access and mobility management. Then session management, right? Like how to, when your data session is established, how to manage the data sessions across the various gateways, right? Across from like right now, when I'm talking here, whatever I'm talking, whatever I'm presenting, it is coming through the gateway setting in Singapore to Chennai, from Chennai to Tiruchendur. These are all the complete control, how we manage the sessions, right? The data, the control plane. Then something like authentication and server function and policy control function. Unified data management is what it is comparing with the LTE. Means LTE is a 4G technology. How it was called in for LTE, how it is called in 5G. HSS stands for, like we used to call home services element, and how when you buy a new SIM, how your information is stored, including your Aadhaar card, your information, everything is stored in HSS, and all kind of information. This is the core is which you don't know, right? It is sitting in the exchanges, and it does all kind of various functions which is needed to run this 5G network, right from the moment you pick up your phone and dial the number, how seamlessly it goes across multiple elements, and your connection is established, and you talk or you exchange your videos or download a movie and everything. This is how the various network functions play the role and make it happen seamlessly in a fraction of a second, right? Okay, I just want to check. Okay, how is it going so far? Okay, anyhow, I will check one more and I'll come later. Okay, this is a very, very interesting slide. Okay, I want to spend some time. What is difference in 5G? Okay, what is difference in 5G? Until 4G, it's more we talked about, okay, 2G, right? 2G, we introduced digital technology, like 1G is pure analog, 2G we introduced digital, again, no data. 3G and 4G data, right? 4G and data. And the difference is 3G data speed is around very less, right? 2 Mbps maximum. Then in 4G, we moved for 200 Mbps maximum speed, but you get around 20 to 50 Mbps depending on where you're traveling, where your position, right? And so until now, we are talking about only the speed, okay? In 5G, it is not the speed alone. Yeah, speed is massive, right? We moved from the minimum speed is 1 Gbps to now 20 Gbps we are talking about, okay? But here, what we introduced is in 4G, let me give an example. In 4G, somebody is trying to make an emergency call, 911 call, like emergency in India. What is the number? What I don't know, whatever number, right? You want to call an ambulance, right? And you pick up your cell phone and you call an ambulance for emergency. And somebody, your friend is sitting next to room and he is downloading a pirated movie, right? When it comes to 4G network, there is a little distinction, okay? To know that, okay, this call is emergency data, or this is like it's somebody is just downloading a pirated movie, okay? But in 5G, we can distinguish those things. We can distinguish those things. We call it as a network slicing. We put in the header, okay, hey, this is a mission critical data. You should given the higher priority. Imagine a situation, right? When somebody is trying to make an emergency call to call an ambulance, he is not in a position to get the connectivity, whereas your friend is downloading a massive movie, 2 GB movie, and it's not good, right? It's not good, okay? It's not good. And that's how in 5G, we introduced a concept called network slicing, where we can, let's say you have a pipe, you have a core pipe which can carry, let's like, let's say, 100 Gbps, or you can see nowadays router, right? 400 Gbps, 100 Gbps routers, and those routers carry the traffic. Then we can say that slice, okay, this is a mobile broadband data slice. Okay, may not be a higher priority. Then the massive IoT slice, that means there's a different bandwidth. That means high priority data. High priority data means we put in the header, then we'll say, okay, this is a high priority IoT device. IoT device on the beach is communicating information about it's a cyclone to the weather center. Yeah, that's a mission critical. That's a critical data that should give the highest priority. So it given the next priority called IoT slice. Then the mission critical in the sense nowadays people are going to use in 5G. You talk about self-driving cars. The self-driving cars, it's already happening in the US, in Singapore. The self-driving cars communicate with each other through the 5G, right? About accident information, or like in front of the thing. And again, I told about a doctor sitting in New York, and he is doing a surgery in Chennai, or like Tiruchendur in a remote village. So that's mission critical information. When he's giving us an instruction to the robot to do the surgery, that's a mission critical, right? So that should be given the highest priority, right? So what we are doing is, again, this is completely new. It is not in 3G or not in 4G, only in 5G, where we can slice. We call it as a network slicing. We can allocate the high priority, like, okay, this, if you have 100 Gbps, hey, 10 Gbps is allocated dedicatedly only for this mission critical IoT. And another thing is for massive IoT, like other things. Only 50% is allocated for people to watch Netflix or broadband or YouTube videos and something like that. By doing this, the architects can design in such a way that depends on the network requirement. So what we are trying to do is we make sure that the mission critical data has the highest priority, then it gets transferred within, I talk about the low latency, less than a millisecond, right? There is a mission critical data, less than a millisecond, it gets transmitted, and that is only is available in 5G. It is not there in 4G, it is not there in 3G. So this is a major difference. When you should know, hey, it's not only 5G, is just not only the speed. right? It is how we handle the mission critical data. Okay, how we handle the mission critical communication. That's a major distinction, major thing in 5G. All right. So I would like to take a checkpoint going before moving to the next session, because let me kind of consolidate, right? This is next session will be very interesting for you guys. Okay, I'm going to introduce some new services. And just to summarize what I talked so far is, we started with the evolution of mobile communication. What is 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and what is about 5G. And in the 5G, we talked about what is the requirements for 5G. When you start a project, right, when we engineers sit and do what we need to do in 5G, first we need to define the requirements, right? Okay, this 5G should support 1 Gbps to 20 Gbps. It should support massive devices of connectivity, like, thousands of devices in within a 1 kilometer range, right? And then we said, okay, it has to be ultra low latency, less than 1 millisecond, because we are going to communicate mission critical information. So this ultra, then it has to be a network efficiency. So these are the 8, we call it as a KPIs, key performance indicators or requirements or features, whatever term you call it. So then once your requirements are defined, then engineers and the scientists, they sit together and develop what are the specs, what needs to be done. Then we talked about how the architecture, we can divide into 3 different layers, right? The bottom layer is highly connected infrastructure, which is our fibers, your media gateways, then the control functions, how it control your communication, right? Your data connections, and the middle layer, which are virtualized nowadays. It's not dedicated equipments. Like if you go to your lab, you can see a routers, right? You see Cisco routers, Cisco switches, you see firewalls, like F5 firewall, Cisco firewall. You can see dedicated equipments. In 5G, it's not dedicated equipment. It's all virtualized. These functions can run on a general server, like in a laptop. You can run it on a laptop. Okay, so that's called virtualization. The cost has come down drastically. That's a middle layer, virtualized middle layer. Then we talk about the various applications, right? Then we talked about the antennas evolution, the spectrum, 5G spectrum. We talked about the antenna evolutions, how the antennas evolve. Then we talked about the architecture, in currently we have a lot of silos. You have 2G, 3G, 4G, how it all combined in 5G with a single access, so that it is very efficient to manage. We don't need tons of money for the equipments, and we don't need tons of money to manage different networks. In 5G, everything, from 2G to Wi-Fi, everything and a single access, right? Then we talk about different elements. And then I introduced a very important concept in 5G, which is called network slicing. And network slicing is a concept which basically prioritize the high mission critical information. Mission critical information is right from the doctors doing the surgery using 5G network, or like some mission critical IoT device sitting in a building, right? If there is a fire, it can communicate the information to the fire station, right, through the data. It's a mission critical. That's called IoT device. And your IoT device is placed in the beach, right? When it detects the high speed wind, right, it can communicate that information to the control center, weather control center. There is a storm coming, right? So these are all IoT devices. Okay, so these are all mission critical information. Then you have a separate slice to carry your Netflix movies or like YouTube videos and stuff like that. So these are all the things we introduce. So again, to reiterate very simply, 5G is right, it is the major thing is network slicing, new concept, high speed and virtualized functions. And those are the things which I want you to remember, okay, before getting into the next session. So Dr. Vallan, I want to take a checkpoint here before jumping on. I want to maybe open the floor for students to ask some basic questions, or some checkpoints if they have any doubt or anything. Because I want to be a little bit interactive, right? Otherwise it becomes monotonous. I just talk. Okay. Yeah, please unmute. Yeah, you are still on mute. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Actually, the final year students are in another classroom with their laptops.
Okay.
And the people now you are seeing is all third years.
30 years. Okay.
Third years.
So
The final year students will ask doubts.
yeah, like I just wanted to check. Can you check with the students? They because you can ask casually like whether they understand the basic whatever I covered, because otherwise it doesn't make sense for me, right? I want to make sure that what I'm talking is sense to them. Okay. Do they follow? They can understand the basics so far?
Yes, Ravi. I hope they have already understood, but they will make a shy to ask questions.
Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, I will make them unshy, because after that I will open the floor for discussions, right? Question and answer, right?
Yes.
Okay. And okay. So from your point of view, so far okay, right? Everything's like it's clear and
Everything clear. The third years will also understand.
right. Okay.
What you are telling, they can understand.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Let me move to the next then, and then I will wrap up. So 5G services. Okay. What is 5G services? So we can, as I told you, like we can different make it to different categories. One is massive IoT devices is smart city. You might be seeing a lot of in the news, like a lot of smart city projects. Maybe Tirunelveli, the smart city, they are trying to dig all the roads and relay everything, but that's not the real smart city. When I was traveling through 3 years back, I was visiting from Tiruchendur to Tirunelveli, Kutralam. The entire Tirunelveli was in a mess with all the roads. I don't know how things have changed right now. Okay, that's happened in 2019 December, right? But that's not the real smart city. The real smart city is we put so many IoT devices in various buildings and various things, how they communicate each other's through sensors for and smart agriculture. I told you, right? Smart agriculture is when yeah, huh?
Now only they are changing. They are making a road from Tirunelveli to Tirchendur.
Okay.
And other things are happening. Smart
Okay.
city.
Okay. So one simple example of smart agriculture is I can put a sensor in my field, because I'm a farmer, right? I have a paddy field, or I have a field. So I can put a sensor in my field when the birds or something come and eat the crops, right? The sensor can get activated. It can send a message to a farmer using his cell phone app. He will get an alert saying that, hey, there is some some animal is vandalizing your he get an alert. Then he knows, hey, something is wrong. He can go to his field and he will find birds are eating the grains, or that some animal is eating the crops. This is one simple example of smart agriculture. Same like how to control the the watering, right? And the devices, the smart IoT, when the water reaches certain level, right, it can send an alert. Then the guy can the farmer can automatically not only alert, it can automatically switch off the pump set, right? There are a lot of things like smart agriculture, smart home. Smart home you already heard about, right? You have your app. You can turn on your air conditioning, your lights from your app itself, which already I am doing. I can do, and I have a car. I can from my app, and I can start my car before I get into the thing. So these are all the smart industry, everything. These are all possible through IoT devices. That means, think about a farmer in a field itself, he has to put multiple IoT devices. These IoT devices are going to connect through the 5G. Okay. Then we talked about mobile broadband. It's called augmented reality. You might have seen the AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, gaming, and like those things. Because of when you have a 1 Gbps to 20 Gbps speed on your mobile phone, imagine what kind of virtual reality applications we can do. Then we talked about, I told you about ultra low latency, like called remote surgery, right? A doctor sitting in New York can do a surgery on a person in Tiruchendur through the 5G, right? And remote driving, self-driving car, robotics. So we'll talk about it. These are the different categories of services. And just like one small comparison, I tell you, right? In 2G, right? In 2G, or sorry, in 3G, the speed is 384 kbps. When you want to download a 2-hour movie, it took 26 hours in 3G, right? That's the timing. They say that flying time from New York to blah, blah, blah. In 4G, it's 100 Mbps. It took 6 minutes, from 26 hours to 6 minutes. In 5G, it 10 Gbps in 3.36 seconds, you get it done. How we evolve in terms of the speed from 3G to in just 30 years, like 20-25 years, 3G to 5G. That kind of revolution is happening in the technology domain. That's called, we call it as next generation network. Okay, next generation network. Okay, and I'm going to introduce some few services here. One of the services called hologram phone call. I'm sure when you guys like not like when we were students and when we were youngsters, we used to watch science fiction movies. In science fiction movies, we see this kind of like somebody touches the button, the guy comes next to that and speaks, something like that. In 5G, we can right now we are having a video call, right? But it's only 2D. It's not a 3-dimensional. In 5G, we can make a hologram, 3-dimensional hologram phone. That means your 5G phones can have a 3D cameras. The 3D cameras, it can transfer like 2 Gbps data or something. So it will become as if the person is sitting next to you, is in a hologram phone call, not only video call, right? It's going to be a hologram phone call in 5G, as if the person is sitting next to you, is speaking in a 3D augmented reality. So some example is, look at this. Okay, I don't know, maybe some probably the audio might not be there, I think. You can't hear the audio, right? You see only the video? Did you see the video? Valan, could you please answer?
Yes.
You saw the video,
Yes.
but no audio.
No audio.
Yeah, I think there's some problem. That's okay. At least you can see the video, right? How it how the real hologram call. Okay, fine. So I'll move to the next one then. I'm giving an example of some services, how the innovative services in 5G. The next is, we talk about 5G connected car, right? 5G cars in US, we are already piloting. We have self-driving cars. Tesla is already there, self-driving cars. And in Singapore, you won't believe, there is a campus in Technology Park campus. Already we can we can call for a self-driving taxis. They allocated a dedicated lane. The taxis can drop you. It's real in Singapore. Like you go to the campus, not in every road, in a certain area, in a technology park, the cars like the taxi can no driver. It comes, you just tell the address, feed in on the app which location you want to go, building 1 to building 12 or whatever it is, it automatically takes you. Okay. So how these cars, the self-driving cars are communicating through 5G only, right? Self-driving cars. And when you are a self-driving car, you are going to just sit idle, right? How? But you can watch Netflix movies, or you can watch TVs on your TV screen, like infotime in the car itself. There is a, now all the cars are having touch screen, right? So how, when in the future, when people are self-driving car, they just sit idle and they can, in the screen they can watch a movie, or they can just watch a videos or news, TV, and that's how in the future. So this is such an example. This video is taken in San Francisco, US 2 years back, not recently. Okay, this is one such video, how the self-driving cars works. It's a real, it's not right. This is possible through only 5G. Okay. All right. I think somebody's trying to ask something. Okay. Okay, good. So let me move to the next one. Next app. I'm just trying to show some examples. Okay. The next is one is a very, very important service in 5G is life-saving robots. In future, right now, what we do when there is a fire, we send the fireman rushing in the fire engine. They're rushing to the fireplace and they climb the building and try to rescue people. But not in the future. In the future, the people, the fire control station, they sit in the control station itself. Using 5G, they can send the robots, they can send the firefighting robots to the buildings, and the robots can go and do the firefighting. No, we need not worry about people getting killed, the fireman getting killed, and they can do. How it is possible? This is how the robots work. The robo can just open a door and he can go to the any room, and people trapped in the fire or whatever, they can rescue. And these robots communicate with the base station through 5G control stations. So, okay, I'll take a checkpoint here. Like, so this is some of the services, like, no, I'm just giving a few example, like how the world is going to change in 5 years to 10 years time frame, right? When the 5G is fully deployed, and how these are the innovative services, and it is going to, rule it's like we watched these things in the movies, like 10 years back or 20 years back, we watched in the science fiction movies, but it is going to be real in the future. Next one, I'm just giving, this is, I'm like, no, this is giving the various things in a single slide, how these services like, transportation, consumer electronics, smart home, IoT sensors, like healthcare, in robots doing surgeries by doctors sitting remotely. These are the and the hologram phone calls, virtual augmented reality, virtual reality, and all these things, it's possible with in 5G. Okay. All right, somebody is waiting, okay, at the lobby. All right, okay. So I'm going to conclude with a small story. Okay, how small story. This is how in the future. This is how the future lifestyle in 10 years, 5 to 10 years time frame. I don't think it's going to happen in India, but it will happen in Singapore. So I live in Singapore, one of the most advanced cities in the world. Are okay. Like even the US, as I told you, Tesla already having almost self-driving cars, right? This is real right now. So let me think about let me think about, I'm going to tell, let's say in 2030, right? In 2030, I'm living in Singapore. How is going to be lifestyle? So let's say morning 6 o'clock, my alarms goes off. My alarm is like, it's not like a regular alarm. Like I can program my alarm with whatever, like, music I want. Let's say MS Subhalaji Subrabadam, it automatically plays it. Then as soon as I get up, my Windows screens will automatically move off. Okay, will move off. Everything can be programmed. You can be programmed in such a way that you don't want the entire screen move off. You want only little bit to move off so that the sunlight comes slowly. And probably the bed is a intelligent bed. You can program your bed in such a way that it can do a little massage for you when you get up, right? It will give a little massage for you. Then you go to the thing, you brush, then you say news, right? You walk to the hall, you say news. A moving display will come in front of you. It can play the news for you. Okay, news for you today, CNN news. And you walk, the display will also move. And the speakers, obviously, the speakers will be connected. It will go through the speakers in the room, right? So as you speak, as you move, the display will also move in front of you. Then you go to the refrigerator, right? The refrigerator is a smart IoT device, smart refrigerator. It is connected connected to the net. Then you look at your refrigerator. Hey, there is not much milk or some other things are running out. Or the refrigerator itself is intelligent. It will say you are running out of these things. It will display. Then you say yes. It will ask a question. Do you want to order these things? You just say yes. The order will automatically go to Amazon or whichever site you want to order those things, right? Then you like the robots will come and serve breakfast for you. You will not have maids in the future, right? Only robots. Robots are the maids. They will, you tell in night itself, you tell the robot, okay, I want this to be served or whatever the thing. Sandwich, bring the sandwich. The robots will come and serve you the sandwich. Then you sit and read, spend some time, and your calendar, like all the devices in like whether your phone or your devices and everything know your schedule for today, right? So let's say I have a meeting at 9 o'clock with my Japanese customers. Okay, in my office, I have to have a conference call, video call with the Japanese video hologram call with my Japanese customers, and it will take half an hour to reach from my home, right? Then I'm not getting up at say 8, right? Then my shoe will pinch me. The shoe is an IoT device. It's all called shoe will pinch me, like what is the touch and feel device, right? Shoe will pinch me to remind that, hey, you are running, your time is up, right? You got to get out of the home to go to office. Okay. Then I get down, then I'll tell yes. My car knows that I am stepping out of I came out of my home. My self-driving car, which automatically parked somewhere else, like the parking lot, it automatically comes to in front of my home automatically, right? Then my car will automatically, self-driving car will take me to my office. Okay, when I go to office, right, then I go to 9 o'clock for my meeting with Japanese customers. So video phone hologram call. Then I speak in English. In real time, it gets translated in Japan. The Japanese customers understand in Japanese language, and it real time, whatever they speak, it get converted and relayed back to me in English. Okay, this is how the future lifestyle. Okay, it is not what I'm talking is like a movies things, right? We have seen this thing in 20 years back, some science fiction movies, and in 2030 that is going to be the future lifestyle of lifestyle in like smart cities like Singapore or like San Francisco or New York or something like that, right? Of course, in India it will be very difficult because we don't follow any traffic rules. Okay, you can't have self-driving cars in India. Okay, so so with that, I just want to conclude here. The future lifestyle and these things, what is the enabler? The 5G is going to be the fundamental enabler Maybe after 2030, it will be 6G. It will even with more other things, right? So with that, I would like to stop here and open the floor for questions so that we can, okay. All right. So again, what I try to do here is giving a basic high-level introductions to 5G. As I know that 5G is a vast subject, I can't do justice if I try to go in detail. But so hope you got something out of it, some basics. Hey, this 5G is like that. These are the services. Hey, cool. We can have self-driving cars in 5G. We can have robots go and do the firefighting in 5G. We can have doctors doing surgery from anywhere in the world, like sitting from New York or sitting from Singapore or wherever, right? And this is the fundamental, the lifestyle change, our lifestyle is going to change, right? Who would have thought 10, 20 years back, we'll have a video call. Now everybody, we have a video call. We have WhatsApp video call. You talk to your friends over video, okay? And who would have thought that we'll have a Netflix and Amazon Prime coming to your home? Like in our days, my dad used to allow only 3 times I can watch a movie when I was a boy. I watched only only 3 to 4 times during festival time, like Pongal or thing. Only my exams are over. Now you have everything in on your fingertips. The whole world is you Google everything, you get your fingertips. The technology has provided all these things, but it is it's getting evolved and new things, and 5G is going to change the world, how we communicate, our lifestyle, and so that's how, right? So with that, I stop here and I'll open the floor for questions. Valan, probably you can ask the students for doubts or any clarifications. Again, feel free to ask questions, okay? Don't feel shy. Don't feel shy that, okay, I don't know English, ask in Tamil, okay? Tamil la kekala, okay? Nothing, again, I'm reiterating, English is just a language. If I come to Singapore, I'm a US citizen, I lived in US. In US, even the cleaning guy who cleans a toilet speak in English. That doesn't mean he's a great knowledgeable person, right? That is his mother tongue. He speaks in English, that's his mother tongue. And our mother tongue is Tamil, right? And you shouldn't feel shy about, I don't know English. English is just a language. This is not the knowledge of a person. You can, if you feel uncomfortable, you want to speak in Tamil, Tamil kekala, Tayangama kekala. Okay. Again, I reiterate, I was much worse than you guys when I was a student, right? I also studied in Tamil medium. I studied in Tamil medium. Okay. From there, I went to Gindi Engineering College. I went to US. I worked in CDOT. Went to US. I worked in Bell Laboratories, and I'm in Singapore. I've been traveling all over the world in the last 25 years, giving telecom consulting to all the major operators, telecom operators around the world. Right? I travel in, right. So it just what what kind of drive you have, what kind of motivation you have. If we have the motivation, if we have the desire, if you have the passion, if you have the dream to achieve success, you can achieve success. Irrespective of you come from Tiruchendur, you come from Tirunelveli, you come from small village in Tiruchendur, or like my village Vettikadu, doesn't matter. Okay, it's all your drive, your willpower, your passion, and you can achieve success. That's why Dr. Abdul Kalam said, Kanavu Kanungal, right? Kanavu Kanungal, dream. You dream big, you achieve success. Okay, so don't shy about it. If you may think that when I was a student, I never used to ask questions because I feel that, hey, my friends will tease me or something. If you think that, right, a person who and you are you consider us you are going to remain stupid, right? You are going to remain without getting your doubts clarified. Okay, so feel free to ask questions. And I already told you, I was a rural student like you guys. Okay, I was so feel free to ask questions. Okay, yeah, I heard somebody raise their hands. Please go ahead. Priya, please go ahead, Priya.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Priya.
Sir, you said about hologram, right? Like, is there available currently right now? Like,
Okay. Okay, good.
is
So,
it in service?
yeah, okay. So let me ask Priya, since I first congratulate and no clap for you because you are the first person to ask a question. Okay, great. I really appreciate you. Priya, did you understand the basics so far, like whatever I covered about 5G?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
You are which year student? Final year student?
Final year students.
You are a ECE student, right?
Yes, sir. Final year EC.
So you are from which place?
Sir, Thoothukudi.
Thoothukudi. Okay, good. I'm
Yes,
so
sir.
happy that you are confidently you are speaking. Okay, good.
Yes.
So in 5G, for hologram call, you need to have 3D camera, right? You need to have a 3D camera. So you need to have a special 5G phones with a 3D camera. Then only we can make call. Right now, it is not available commonly to all the consumers. It's like more of like specialized in the lab testing because and like for people we like us when we go to the industry like conferences to give some demos, it is available, but not now. But I would say that in 5 years time frame, because we are not even we are rolling out the 5G in the initial stages with the 1 Gbps speed only, but 5G is capable of achieving 10 to 20 Gbps speed. When you have a 10 Gbps speed in 5 years time frame, then you will have a 5G phone with a hologram. Right now, this is my camera, right? It's my iPhone 13. So it has a camera, but you'll have a different 3D camera which will capture the depth and everything like virtual reality. It can transmit, and you can have the hologram call, the virtual reality calls in the future. It is not commercially available yet, but it will be in maybe in 3 to 5 years time frame. Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So next person.
Sir,
Yeah. Kavya, what?
Kaushya, sir.
Kaushya. Yeah, tell me, Kaushya. Good.
Sir, at the end you showed a city which is going to be in future. Sir,
Right.
if such city exists, will
Okay.
it cause harmful effect for health?
Right.
Can
Yes.
our human health can tackle those radiations?
Okay, good. That's a very good thing. This is a more ethical question. Okay. Let me ask you first. Okay, tell you. Such city doesn't exist right now. It's all I'm talking about. I told you about the future lifestyle in 10 years time frame. That's why I said 2030. Okay. But definitely in Singapore it will exist, because in Singapore, um, um, one of the most advanced cities in the world in Singapore, right? And I would say that one of the reasons I moved to Singapore from US, I was living in Boston. So I moved to Singapore about 10 years, 12 years back. The reason is Singapore has the best airport in the world, the best metro train in the world, the best road traffic management road in the world. So you can say, and everything, right? It's a small city, it's a city, it's a real smart city. Okay. But it will be there in 2030. Like when we have a self-driving cars will become very common in maybe in another 5 years. The self-driving cars will be common in the roads, even all the roads, Singapore roads, right? And all the IoT devices I talked about and everything. I'm sure 2030 Singapore will look like that. Okay. Second is harm. Absolutely. In that which you take any technology, there is plus and minus. Okay, even you take about internet, you go to Google, you get all good things, but you go to some bad website, you get all the bad things also. It is not possible. If you take a coin, நம்ம ஊர்ல சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல ஒரு நாணயத்துக்கு ரெண்டு பக்கம் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா, right? So you have plus and minus. It's avoidable. It is unavoidable, right? So any world has consists of good persons and bad person. That's why you go to a movie, you have a hero and a villain, right? That a coexist. Okay. So when you get into, even I feel sorry for you guys nowadays, this generation, because you have so much of distractions with your technology, with your phone in your hand. You have so much of distraction. Even you cannot sit and read focusly for half an hour. Your mind is anxiety about, hey, who WhatsApp me, who's in who posted in Instagram, who made a likes for my Instagram post, because you are always in anxiety mode. I feel sorry for you guys. When I was a kid, no, we didn't have a television, we didn't even have anything, right? We just go out and play, no distractions, right? But right, you have everything, like no, nobody now walks to the school, right? Nobody, like, no, you have everything, but we had different problems, and you guys are having a different problems. So these are all, there will be health issues. Definitely, you have so much of radiation, there will be health issues. And even people are talking about, of course, there is no conclusion that the mobile, the radiation from the mobile communication is causing the cancer or all devices, the other diseases. But we see the lot of rise in the cancers and other diseases like dementia, cancers and like whatnot. But that's a effect of the technology, right? So you need to be smart enough how to use it, right? So you have to, when you have, for example, when my kids at home, my children at home, they have to put their telephone at in the dining table or in the common area when they study, like they'll for 1 hour or 2 hours, then only they can study focusly, otherwise you cannot study. So you need to have a discipline, you have to have your own discipline. Okay, this, I'm going to study for next 2 or 1 hour, I don't want my phone sitting next to you, I will keep my phone away, I'll focus on only in study, right? So these things is a ethical question, it's a very tough question. And so it's how you manage it, how you discipline yourself, how you manage this. Okay, good. Next one.
Okay, sir.
Is there any disadvantages in 5G other than health issues?
Disadvantage, too much of distraction, too much of technology. That's a real disadvantage, which I told you, right? Yes, of course, we develop technology, we engineers, we scientists, we develop technology for the betterment of human life, okay? But like you go to the internet, right? There are how many people are getting cheated? Poor people are getting cheated, scams, right, on the internet, right? Even my father-in-law, who's a famous doctor, like he got once cheated. Somebody called, asked him to give OTP 4-5 years. He doesn't know. He just gave. He thought the guy is calling from the bank. They took 20,000 rupees from his bank account, right? So such bad things happen. So only thing is, I say that you need to be smart. You need to be smart and disciplined. But 5G, absolutely, like obviously, apart from the health issues and other things, nothing bad. Okay, in fact, 5G, we have done a lot of improvements in terms of one major thing. You asked a very good question. One major initiative of the 5G is green energy. That means we design in such a way that we brings the power consumption, less power consumption. Okay, so that's why we went to virtualization. We do the thing. So let's say in 3G, it took, say, one big room of equipments to manage the thing. Now it may be a one laptop kind of equipment can do in 5G. I'm just giving an example, right? As an example. So that's how it works. Okay. I don't see any disadvantage. It's a health benefits, distraction. Like, no, again, like as a human being, we need to do a lot of workout. If I say self-driving car, if I say a robot is going to serve everything for you, then what are you going to do, right? So you are like highly pampered, right? But how you divide, how you plan your lifestyle, and you have to lead. You have to select, okay, I want only to use these features in 5G. I don't want robo for me. I don't want self-driving car for me. Now I go to cycle. There are a lot of people in Singapore, they like to come, they come to office in cycle, right? They don't even want to, they are rich guys. They don't want to even take the car for the health benefits. Okay. All right. Next.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jayashree. Good. I see only girls are asking questions. What about the boys? So like any college, girls are known for studies, boys are known for running around. All right. So any more? Any more? Okay. Can somebody? I'm just okay. Please, somebody is asking a question. Yeah, please. Sanmuham, right? Sanmuha Sundari. Okay, fine. Yeah, who unmuted? Who was trying to ask question? Okay, I'm going to pick somebody to ask something. Okay, there is a person in my screen. The first row. I'm showing in my thing. Can you? What is your name? Can you? No, don't worry about it. I'm just. Can you? What is your name? The first person in the screen, right? I'm pointing with my mouse. Don't get scared. Yeah. Valan, can you please unmute? Yeah. Just what's your name, Tambi? What's your name? Ukan. Tambi, உன் பேர் என்ன? ஜெகதீஷ் எந்த இயர்? தேர்ட் இயரா? தேர்ட் இயர்ல என்ன ஈஸி தானா? எந்த ஊரு? பக்கத்துல கிராமமா? என்ன உங்க அப்பா என்ன பண்றாரு? என்ன விவசாயம் பாக்குறாங்களா? என்ன பண்றாங்க? ஓகே, குட், கண்டக்டர். So இந்த 5G இதுவரையிலும் நான் பேசுனதுல what you learn, like few things you can share. 5G, be confident, right? Be confident. You no need to தமிழ்ல சொல்லலாம், இங்கிலீஷ்ல சொல்றேன், எது கம்ஃபர்டபுளா இருக்கோ நீ சொல்லலாம். இந்த 5Gல என்ன புதுசு? 5Gல என்ன புதுசுன்னு நீ நினைக்கிற? நீ ஆமா, வெரி குட், வெரி குட். புதுசா என்ன சர்வீஸ் இதுல இருக்குன்னு நினைச்ச? இதுல சொன்னதுல வந்து இப்ப 4Gல இல்லாத புது சர்வீஸ் இதுல என்ன மாதிரி இருக்கும் 5Gல? ஓகே, நோ ப்ராப்ளம். பக்கத்துல ஒரு பையன் உட்கார்ந்துருக்காரு, அவர் பேர் என்ன? வாங்க. No, I'm not trying to like பயப்பட தேவையில்லை. நான் வந்து I'm not trying to pick you like இது நம்ம காலேஜ்ல ப்ரொஃபசர் வந்து கூப்பிட்டு கேள்வி கேட்கறாங்களா, அது மாதிரி கிடையாது. I'm just casual like your friend. Okay, I'm not your professor. Okay, I'm like a friend and like no asking some basic things, that's all. தம்பி உன் பேர் என்ன?
சார் அலெக்ஸ் சதீஷ்.
அலெக்ஸ் சதீஷ். அலெக்ஸ் சதீஷ், குட். எந்த ஊர் நீ?
எனக்கு சுரண்டை, தென்காசி டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்.
தென்காசி, வெரி குட். தென்காசி காசி விஸ்வநாதர் கோயில் இருக்கிற ஊர் இல்லையா?
எஸ் சார்.
ஆல் ரைட், குட். ஸோ உனக்கு என்ன நீனு உங்க இந்த 5Gல வந்து என்ன புதுசா 4Gல இல்லாதது 5Gல என்ன இருக்கு? சர்வீஸ் இருக்கு 5Gல?
எல்லாரும் இந்த ஃபாஸ்ட் தான் எதிர்பார்க்கறாங்க, பட் அந்த டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ் ரேடியேஷன் எவ்வளவு பாதிக்கும் அத யாரும் பார்க்கறாங்களா எப்படி? இந்த
சரி, எந்திரன் 2 படம் பாத்தியா? ரஜினியோட எந்திரன் 2 படம் பாத்தியா?
சார்
அதுல என்ன வில்லன் அக்ஷய் குமார் வந்து 5G செல்போன்ல எல்லாம் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குன்னு சொல்றாரு இல்லையா? ஓகே, யா, ரேடியேஷன் I told you, radiation வந்து it is not a proven, scientifically medically proven yet. People are telling, okay, it's not medically proven that any doctor or any scientist has proved that okay, by talking to the cell phone radiation is the main cause of this disease or this disease. These are all only speculations. Right? Nobody has proved it. If it is proved, then all the governments should have taken a measures to rectify it. It's all speculation. There is no proof yet. Okay, but definitely, like, there will be some health hazard, right? No, not definitely. What I'm saying is overusing of technology is addicted. Many people are addicted to, like, cell phones. Many people are addicted to playing games in the cell phone. Those are the disadvantages, right? But what I asked you a question is, பஸ் 5Gல வந்து இப்போ 4Gல இல்லாத சர்வீஸ் என்ன 5Gல இருக்கு ஸ்பீட தவிர? வேற என்ன இருக்கு 5Gல? ஸ்பீடு, ஹை ஸ்பீட் இருக்கு. வேற என்ன இருக்கு? வீடியோ எல்லாம் பார்த்த இல்லையா? என்ன ஹோலோகிராம், அப்புறம் கார் பார்த்தே இல்லையா? செல்ஃப் டிரைவிங் கார் பார்த்தியா? ஓகே, அதுவும் சர்வீஸ் தான். ஓகே, ரோபோ பாத்தியா? ரோபோ go and fight the fire fighting னா ரோபோனா போய் we can control the robots, right? Okay, so இதெல்லாம் வந்து 4Gல முடியாது. 4Gல இப்ப இருக்கிறத வச்சு பண்ண முடியாது. only 5G வழியா தான் அதெல்லாம் நடக்கும். Okay, good. All right. Good. Valan, Dr. Valan, so I will hand over to you. Maybe you can say a few words. How is it so far, the session?
Yes, Ravi, it was very good, nice. Students are much benefited, sir.
Okay. So it's at least from your point of view, it gives a high level intro about 5G.
High level intro about
5G. 5G ஓட basics ஓரளவு பசங்களுக்கு தெரியுதா இப்ப சொன்னதுனால இதுல இருந்து?
So they can able to understand it is IoT based devices linked. IoT based devices linked, and already you have told that is based on the 7-layer strategy, in which all the networks, the data and the voice has to be separately connected in 4G, but here it is, everything is integrated and it is movable networks.
Okay, good. Yeah, again, my objective is to just introduce the concept, right? In 1 hour, we can just introduce the concept, and people should know. And when the students, when they get a 5G next month, when they're getting launched, they should know, oh, at least 5G, I have this kind of thing. Okay, good. Yeah, I think Priya is asking a question. Yeah, go ahead, Priya.
Yes, sir. Sir, like we are going for 5G network now, right? Then what can we do with the existing networks, like the 4G, the 3G, like how?
Yeah. Like, let me tell you. That's why in 4G, like, they will not immediately disconnect everything, right? It will be a slow evolution. First, they introduce 5G in major cities like Chennai, Delhi, and other things. Then slowly they will take off the old equipments once that stabilizes. Then we'll come to other cities, tier 2 cities. We call it like Trichy, Coimbatore, and thing. Then they'll come to the tier 3 cities like Thoothukudi, Tanjavur, and those kind of places, right? It's going to be a slow evaluation. But one good thing is 4G, the LTE technology is there. They can still use the LTEs and access technology, but they cannot use the core. As I told you, core is the main, where like they have the various functions like AMF, MMF, and all, like all those functions. The core has to be replaced, but you can still have the access like LTE access, but you may not get the full speed like 5G, right? So those things will coexist, but maybe after 5 years, right? After 5 years, by the time all the deployment happen, then they can kick off all the thing, then everything will be migrated to 5G. So that's what it happens, right? So because the people has already invested billions of dollars, right? You cannot just go and display like billions of dollars and bring another billion. Who will have the money to do everything, right? So it's going to be a slow migration and evaluation. It will take 5 years. Like, let's say if India starts in 2022, by 2027, by the time they'll have full-fledged 5G across India, but all the 4G or 4 things will be replaced by the time. Okay. Yes.
Sir, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So any other questions from student side?
Fine, sir. Ravichandran sir, actually, it was a great pleasure to have your session, and I hope that now everyone might have got the insight of your presentation about 5G mobile communication. I would like to bring to your notice that our students actually been involved with a little bit having ideologies on your communication area, and previously we were having Ansoft HFSS for designing some antennas as well as studying about the radiation characteristics. Previously our students have done it,
Okay,
and
good.
if you have been able to support us externally just to mentor our students or maybe provide some excellence on the ideology, recent trends, what is being available,
Sure.
if they have any doubts when they are developing some projects, I think, and technical ground support, if it has been externally available, it will be great help for them, because we are planning to create some clubs for the students, particularly
Okay.
if you are interested with RF,
Mm.
with PLSI, with embedded, with specific areas of signal processing. Like that, we
Okay.
are planning to create some clubs, and whoever been interested in that will be made to work on that area. And I think you are given a eye-opening for these people also,
Good.
because RF is not that exposed to our students, because presently the final is also been coming out from this COVID period, and
Correct.
minimized exposure been available in the third year subjects. So
Yeah.
they are also listening to you very eagerly and was able to capture a lot of factors. I have some two things, sir. When you are
Sure,
going
please. Yeah.
so for 5G present existing or approved frequency ranges, which is the approved frequency ranges, sir?
I think like it varies from countries to country, right? Because every country it has a different. But as I told you, the approved range is typically 3 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. Already there is a slide which I showed you, right? There is a different one is sub 3 range, another is a millimeter wavelength range, another is a centimeter wavelength and millimeter wavelength. But it is varies from countries to country. US will be different, Japan will be different, India will be different based on the availability of the spectrum they allocate, right? That's what people, the telecom companies, they go and bid for the spectrum, right? Available spectrum. So, but
we are
yeah,
hearing that sub gigahertz, below 3 gigahertz, there is one frequency band.
correct.
And
Yeah,
between 28 to 36 gigahertz, one approximate range has been also told. So
right.
no clarity has been exactly provided. This is what has been approved, and that's why I
Right.
just raised the question.
Yeah. The range is high, very range. The 300 gigahertz range. There is a slide. I'm going to share the slides with Valan, and you can distribute to the students. So the range is 300 gigahertz range. So it varies from country to country in terms of allocation.
Sir, one more request.
Sure.
Sir, I think you'll be more exposed to spectrum analyzers and network analyzers.
To be honest, I am a core architect. Okay.
Fine, sir. So
I designed the switching side, not on the access side. You know, the telecom, there is a two different domains, switching and access.
Fine,
so I already shared with the students, I was one of the core architect for Reliance. So I started my career in CDOT, started the digital switching in 1992 to 1994. 2 years I worked on the India's first digital switches so I'm a switching expert and core architect expert, but I know the basics like spectrum analyzers and oscilloscope and all those things. I know the basics. In fact, my company Keysight Technologies, we are the leader. You can go to our website. We are the leader in spectrum analysis and RF, all this radio frequency, and we are the leader in layer one. We call it as a layer one, right? Layer one. So you can have a look at it if you need any informations, and I can connect with my people in India, right? My team and my people in India. You can follow with that.
Sir, actually, your expertization also can be shared as a special session for pure technical side, so that we can make it more useful and exposed to people who are not aware of this particular area. They may get a good ideology, and domain will be also given exposure for the students also, if possible.
Yeah. If you want some deep dive discussions on 5G or like on the core side and things like that, we can do later. Okay.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful time period. Lot of time you have spared for us.
No worries.
eyes, sir.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I always, as I tell, I always like to speak to the students, and I consider this as my duty to give back to the community, to the students, and so it's a pleasure. Okay, thank you, Dr. Reno. Okay.
So thank you, and God will bless you in every way. Your
Thank
family
you so
members,
much.
everyone, and I think we are also blessed to have you. And thank you, Valan sir, for taking this beautiful initiative, for bringing a great expert to us, because it is very tough to find experts in the core domain, sharing time, sharing full energy for the students, for the society, for the future development. So on behalf of ISTD, on behalf of Dr. Sivandhyatna College of Engineering, on behalf of EC Department, ISTD branch, and all the students and faculty members, we have been wholeheartedly thank you very much for being with us and sharing this wonderful moment and session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to disconnect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ravichandran.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Valan. Okay, bye-bye.